Hello, Founder fam. We are back with another episode of Founder Unfiltered. Hi, this is Natasha. And this week, let's talk about the concept of founding something, like building a brand for yourself and what that could look like. I shared about this on Instagram last week, and I think it resonated with a lot of people. And it's the idea that the job market as we know it in the US is no longer the same. And with that comes a responsibility to ourselves to create something that is our own, is ours. And this doesn't mean you go and quit your job tomorrow, but if you do feel like it's looming, the concept of getting laid off or some sort of unemployment in your future, then I think this topic this week will resonate with you. And that's the idea of figuring out who you could be as a personal brand and a founder, and then creating offers around that to protect yourself, to protect your income, to protect being able to pay your bills. And as always, something that I love to talk about is the protection of your nervous system, like making sure that you're able to stay calm through periods of uncertainty. And that's exactly what this job market looks like going into 2026, especially with AI seemingly taking over quite a lot of positions, especially those of designers, copywriters, people in the marketing space. There's a lot to it, even engineers. And so if I in any way could help you figure out something that you could create for yourself in this economy, not knowing what's going to happen for you, then I'm so happy to do that. And one of the ways is to create some sort of a consultancy or some sort of offering for yourself that you can set up on even something as simple as a landing page, creating like a one-page portfolio link for people. And what I shared about last week on Instagram was being able to figure out and tap into like what your superpower is. Like, what is that thing that you're naturally known for, the thing that maybe you do different than other people do, and definitely that thing that people already come to you for. So I'll give an example of myself. I've spent many years working in marketing. I worked in fashion marketing for brands like Fossil and Club Monaco. Then I got super burnt out from the fashion industry and went into personal training and running my own nutrition coaching business. I worked for 6 years at Equinox. And one of the things that a lot of newer trainers just naturally came to me for and ended up landing me a position as a mentor amongst a team of 55 trainers was the fact that I knew how to personal brand myself. And now this was 2014 to 2020, just before the gyms shut down. And this was a time when I don't even think I knew what the term personal brand meant, but I knew that there was something that I did differently than all the other trainers in that club that had, a lot of them had way more experience than I did. But what I did differently was how I positioned myself. And I figured out how to do that. And that was around knee rehab and helping women who were pre and postnatal. But how I did that was through things like setting up a blog for myself. I figured out how to share like recipes that could help people like be able to feel better, but not feel so boring, like chicken and rice with a side of broccoli. I also really started tapping into using Instagram at that point. And so it wasn't so much about my offering of like vegetarian eating or pre and postnatal or how to help like knee pain. It was more about the tools that I was using in order to put myself out there. And a lot of other trainers and managers were noticing that. And so when everything shut down during COVID, all the gyms shut down and people were frantically figuring out how do we even keep our business with the gym shut down. And so many of my colleagues and other wellness coaches in the LA area that had heard about me, they were coming to me asking, Natasha, how can we do this? And one of the things I said to them was, okay, yeah, sure. I can help you set up a website. We can definitely figure out a social media game plan, but like, what are you known for? What do people come to you for? Is it for like an anti-aging routine, or is it for your expertise on like sleep coaching? Like, what is it? What do people come to you for? And so that's essentially how I was able to start building out my own brand marketing business for wellness brands and wellness founders. Okay, so I'll give another example. I have a dear friend of mine. She's worked in tech for quite a few years, and before that, she worked in journalism. She worked for The Hollywood Reporter, and then she segued into Amazon Music, and then most recently, she was working for TikTok. She's been laid off 2 times out of those 3 positions. And the one thing that resonated for her when I started kind of talking with her and helping her figure out like what could she do after that second layoff And one of the things that people were already coming to her for and wanting her expert opinion on was on pop culture and specifically Latin music. And so the past few months since she was laid off at TikTok, that's what she's been doing. She's been doubling down on her opinions and her thoughts around pop culture, specifically in the Latin music and South American music space. And you know what that's done for her? She's gone viral multiple times. She's now considered a thought leader. She has something to say and people want to hear about it. So now I know one of the things that she's focusing on is like, how does she set up an offering for that? And it's already starting to look like consulting for tech music companies and helping other people figure out, how do I become a thought leader in this space? So that's a really great example. I have another friend who spent many years in financial auditing. And when she would come into the office, she's very petite. She's like just over 5 feet, but she always had the cutest outfits. And these are outfits that you would think would look great on somebody very willowy, somebody that looks like a model. And a lot of her coworkers would say, oh my gosh, where'd you get that outfit? Or, oh my goodness, this outfit is so freaking cute. And she started thinking, wow, maybe I could like post about this for fun. And so she started posting about petite fashion. And this has been a number of years now, but she's gotten some really great brand deals. She's been able to like hustle herself into like going on these wonderful trips, largely in part because she figured out, wow, I have something that other people want to know about, and I'm happy to share it, and then strategize around how I can share it in a way that can monetize my income. So when I'm talking to those of you out there who might be thinking about, hey, I have a really great idea for something, or, oh my gosh, I feel like my job is about to expire, what should I be doing? The answer, yes, obviously, if you feel the most comfortable with some sort of a W-2 income, something that feels stable in like the corporate kind of way, then by all means, like get yourself back on LinkedIn, go on Indeed Jobs, go on Glassdoor, like fill out all the applications. But in the meantime, I highly, highly recommend creating some sort of personal brand or some sort of consultancy that you can become a founder of to really help you with that. And what those steps could look like is asking friends and family, asking colleagues, hey guys, when you think of me, what's something that comes to mind? And then write all of that down. And then when you look internally at yourself, think about, okay, what's something that I know I can offer that isn't like how maybe my coworkers do it? And that's why I tend to say, especially for corporate people, like lean on some sort of like consultant business. Like what's something that you can consult around? You know, if you work in marketing, like what's the specific thing that you know you're really great at? Maybe it's like Google or Meta ads, or maybe it's helping people figure out their growth marketing from an email newsletter sense. Like figure those things out and then double down on them. I'm here. I'm happy to help. You can always reach me at The Maxwell Method on Instagram. My name is Natasha Maxwell on LinkedIn, and my website is www.themaxwellmethod.com. I'm here to help, and I wish all of us luck out there in this very uncertain, time frame of 2026. Cheers to that.